Do you know the real questions that buyers ask when they're walking through your home? And spoiler alert, they're not just complimenting your kitchen backsplash. They're asking questions like, how long has this home been sitting on the market? Why are the sellers moving? And are we about to inherit a money pit with a leaking roof? And here's a kicker. How you and your agents answer these questions can be the difference between a very quick sale or weeks of sitting on the market and just crickets. But wait, sellers, you've got questions too. Like, do I really need to paint everything beige? Should I throw $10,000 into upgrades, or will staging just fix everything? In this video, I am breaking down the 7 most frequently asked buyer questions, the top trending seller questions, and how you can flip them to make every single one of them work for you. Stick around because I have a bonus buyer question you don't want to miss. Also, I will show you how to avoid the most common mistake that costs sellers thousands of dollars, and how to get connected with a top agent who knows exactly how to answer these questions and get you the best offer. All right, let's dive in. Buyers seem really friendly, but every question that they ask is actually a test, and if you answer them the wrong way, they can cost you thousands of dollars, and that is if you even get an offer. We're starting with the most dangerous question, the one that seems most innocent but can instantly give buyers leverage. Why is the seller moving? And let's be honest, your reason for moving is none of their business. But this is the question that buyers and their agents love to ask because it gives them leverage. If you say, we're relocating for work, a buyer thinks,
oh my gosh, they're underneath the time crunch, we can lowball the offer.
If you say, the kids are grown and we're just looking to downsize, buyers often think,
wow, this house is huge. I bet it's expensive to maintain. Bet they can't wait to get out of here and downsize.
If you say we're building a new home, buyers will assume that you are trying to juggle 2 mortgages and you need this house gone yesterday. And heaven forbid you say we just don't like the neighborhood anymore, because that's like handing the buyers a big red flag that says ask for a price cut. The truth, any personal reason that you give can be used to chip away at your negotiating power. Let's talk about the neutral answer strategy. You want to stay friendly, but still vague. Think smooth jazz answers, not heavy metal confessions. For example, we just decided it's time for a change, or we're exploring new opportunities, or my favorite, our plans are still in the works. These responses sound polite, they give nothing away, and they keep the buyer guessing, which is exactly what you want. Now, question number 2, probably it's the most irritating of all of them for me, and that is, how long has this house been on the market, and where did they come up with that price? This is a buyer's way of asking, are you desperate yet? If you say, well, it's been on the market for 60 days. They think something must be wrong with this house. Let's offer $50,000 less than the list price and let's see if they bite. If you say, we just dropped the price a few weeks ago, they think, oh, they must be panicking. Let's lowball even harder. Or if you justify the price with, we know the market has slowed down a little bit, you've basically told them, we know we're not going to get our asking price. Feel free. Chip away. The truth, you want to keep the conversation confident and focus on the home's value, not its listing history. Instead of giving a timeline and trying to defend the price, shift the focus to the home's benefits and its current interest. We have had steady interest, and the home's price reflects its value and condition in this market. The home is priced competitively, especially considering its upgrades and its location. Or, the home has been well received and we are excited for the right buyer to see its potential. These responses keep the buyer from sniffing out desperation and reinforce that the price is firm and justified. Question number 3, how many offers do you have? This is a buyer's subtle way of sniffing out, how much competition do I have? If you say no offers yet, a buyer hears, perfect. Nobody wants this house. Let's start with a lowball offer and see what happens. I mean, nobody else is asking for it. If you say, we had an offer, but it fell through, a buyer hears, wow, something must have been wrong in the inspection period. You know what? We're going to need to tread lightly, most likely offer a little bit less money because we're going to find something really wrong with this house. And if you say, well, we've had multiple offers, but none of them just really stuck, then they start wondering, what is really wrong with this house? Are there hidden issues? We're going to have to go really deep discounting to make sure that we don't end up in a money pit. The truth, oversharing here is like giving away your playbook before the game even starts. You want to sound positive and confident while keeping the buyers guessing. We've had strong interest and plenty of activity. We're receiving inquiries daily and the home is getting great attention. Or we're getting solid activity and we are excited about finding the right buyer. This creates a feeling of competition without revealing any specific details that the buyer can use against you. Question number 4, are there structural or major issues? This question really means, is there a hidden nightmare waiting for me? If you answer bluntly, nope, nothing wrong with this house, buyers are going to wonder, are you being honest? If you overshare and say something like,
yeah, well, in 2019, we had a leak, and you know what? We went to YouTube and we watched a video on how to patch it. We think it's stuck.
buyers hear, oh my gosh, run, or ask for a huge discount. They did everything themselves. The goal here is to own the facts while presenting them in the best light. Now, how do you answer honestly without losing leverage? Be upfront with anything that's been repaired, but pair it with reassurance. Yes, the roof did have a leak a couple years ago, but it was professionally repaired and we have had no issues since. And you want to highlight proactive maintenance. The HVAC is 8 years old and we have it serviced twice a year. And for things that are working fine, but they are older, the home is in good condition and the systems are working as expected for their age. Of course, we welcome a buyer's inspection. This way, you're transparent and you've got a confident tone showing that the home is well cared for and not neglected. The best thing to do is to complete a seller disclosure form so the information is readily available to the buyer and there's nothing lost in translation on a verbal communication. It's all in writing. And if anything was done that needed receipts or permits and you've got those as well, those will really go a long way. Question number 5, what are the utility costs? This question seems innocent enough, but often it means, how expensive is it going to be to live here? And can I use that to negotiate? If you say, well, last summer the bill was $500, but that's only because the AC ran nonstop. Buyers are going to hear, oh my gosh, this is going to be expensive and I'm going to be sweaty and broke. If you say, it's not too bad, and then nothing else, buyers are going to think you're hiding something. The goal for your response is context plus reassurance. For example, the utilities are pretty standard for a home of this size and age. We use energy efficient appliances and smart thermostats to keep costs down. Now, only say that if it's true. If you do not have energy efficient appliances or smart thermostat, don't say that. Or you could say the utility costs fluctuate with the season, but they're in line for what's typical for homes in this neighborhood. If you are asked for specifics, you can get usually 1 to 2 years of history from your utility provider, which often breaks down the costs per month and then the highest month and the lowest month and then the average. By framing your answers with efficiency and neighborhood averages, you show that the costs are reasonable without giving the buyers a reason to nickel and dime you. Question 6, what's the neighborhood like? Now, this question may sound very casual, but let me tell you, it is super loaded. Buyers are really asking, will I enjoy living here? They already know the kind of neighborhood that they want. They're just looking to see what your answer is going to be to make sure it lines up with their expectations. And sometimes they're really fishing for information that you legally cannot give out, like what are the type of people that live here? If you say something like, it's super quiet, mostly old folks live here, you could be unintentionally crossing a fair housing line. Or if you say something like, there's a lot of activity, we have so many kids in the neighborhood, that's also crossing a fair housing line. And if you say, everyone's really nice except for that guy in the blue house around the corner, the buyers are going to be honing in on that house and that neighbor every time they drive by. Keep your answers about the features and the amenities, not the people. We really enjoy the convenience. It is close to great schools, shopping, and really amazing restaurants. My personal favorite is you should check out the community during different times of the day so you can get a real feel for the neighborhood vibe. This gives buyers a helpful answer without stepping on anything that's subjective or risky. Question 7, what's the seller's timeline? This question translates into how badly do they need to sell? If you respond with, we need to close ASAP, they hear, great, they're desperate, lowball them. If you say, we're in no rush, then they hear, maybe they're really not interested in selling and then they don't want to even bother to put in an offer. And if you are juggling 2 homes and you say, you know what, we've already moved into our new home, they hear, oh my gosh, they've got 2 mortgages, must really be difficult for them. They're going to need to sell quickly, put in a low offer because they can't handle those bills. But the key here is to sound flexible, but not desperate. One of the responses could be, we're ready to work with the right buyer and a reasonable timeline. Or we can be flexible with the timing, to make this smooth for everyone. And my favorite one is our plans are adaptable. We're open to discussing something that will work for both parties. This tells the buyers that you're confident but still in control without giving them leverage to push for a discount. Coming up next, I am going to reveal the #1 questions that sellers like you are Googling, but many people are getting it totally wrong. Plus, I will share a pro tip that can add thousands to your final sale price without spending a fortune. Don't go anywhere, because here is the bonus buyer question. This question truly irritates me, and it is, how low will the seller go? Ah, yes, that is the classic cut to the chase question. Buyers and their agents love to ask this question because they think that you're just gonna blurt out the answer like it's a yard sale. If you say, you know what, we could come down a bit, it is giving them a green light to go ahead and offer a lower number. If you say, we're firm, they might walk away even if they were willing to negotiate. And if you reveal your bottom line, congratulations, you just negotiated against yourself. This is where you never answer directly. Instead, redirect the conversation. We're confident our house is priced correctly for the market. We're open to reviewing reasonable offers. Or my favorite, the seller will consider all serious offers. Feel free to make one. This puts the ball back in the buyer's court while keeping your cards close to your chest. So to sum it up, buyers are basically trying to read your poker face. They're looking for clues that will help them score a better deal. The key, stay neutral, stay positive, and don't give away anything that can be used against you. But here's the thing, buyers aren't the only one asking questions. Sellers, you are Googling like crazy too. Let's dive into the top seller questions trending online and how you can use the answers to boost your home's value and sale price. Before we dive into your seller questions, if you're already thinking, wow, I need someone who can answer these buyer questions like a pro, be sure to book a call with me. If you're in Florida, I'd love to help you out. But if you're outside of Florida, I have relations with top agents across the United States that know how to answer all of these questions to protect your best interests. All right, we have covered sneaky questions that buyers ask and how to handle them like a pro. But here's the plot twist. Sellers, you have your own list of questions that can make or break the sale. From, do I really need to stage this place, to, is now even a good time to sell? These are things that we are seeing you are Googling at 2 a.m. in the morning when your coffee is worn off and your panic is kicking in. Let's dive into the questions that you are asking the most right now and how the right answers are going to help you sell smarter, faster, and for more money. Question #1, I love this one. What should I disclose? That's the $1,000,000 question. What do I disclose? The short answer is disclose everything that you are legally required to disclose. The long answer, disclose everything that you are legally required to disclose, but frame smartly. Here's the thing. If you are trying to forget about your leaky roof or your AC that's on its last leg, it is going to come up in the inspection. There is no hiding it. And you shouldn't. And when buyers find out about it, they usually don't ask for repairs, they ask for money, a lot of money. Here are a couple examples of how not to answer a question.
Oh, that crack on the wall? We just ignore it and hang a picture frame over it. Oh, the pool pump? It's been broken so long, we just feel like it's part of the family now.
The better approach, disclose what's required, but highlight anything that's been addressed. Yes, the HVA system is 10 years old, but we have it serviced twice a year and it's working perfectly. There was a minor plumbing issue last year, but it was professionally repaired and we've had no issues since. And if you have paid receipts for the work or insurance claims that have been paid and closed out and permits that were pulled and also closed out, providing those will go a very long way. It shows that there was an issue at the house. And honestly, all homes have issues, but it also shows that it was taken care of and you've got the documentation and that you're an owner who maintains their home. I had a seller who had to disclose that they had a major plumbing issue in the house 10 years ago. That plumbing issue was handled by the insurance company and they got brand new flooring throughout the entire house, where many other homes in that neighborhood had carpet. The sellers were notified about it on the seller disclosure and took no issue with it because it was so long ago. The insurance company took care of it. They had the paid receipts for it, and then they had beautiful floors throughout the house. Here's your pro tip. A well-maintained home with a good paper trail builds trust. It says, I take care of my home, instead of, good luck, I hope nothing explodes. Question #2 has been Googled more than how to fix a leaky faucet, and that is now a good time to sell? The honest answer, it depends. But here's the good news. The right strategy can make any market the right time to sell. What you might often hear is the market is cooling and you're thinking, oh, I've probably missed my shot. To rates are going up, nobody is buying. Listen, people need homes due to the 5 Ds in real estate: death, divorce, downsizing, diamonds, and diapers. Homes sell in every market, but the key is to pricing and marketing smartly. Now here are the answers to those questions. With the right price and presentation, you can attract serious buyers no matter what the headlines are saying. A good agent will tell you not just if you can sell, but how to make your home stand out and sell for top dollar. Sometimes it feels like waiting for the right market is waiting for a unicorn. The perfect time is often when you're ready, paired with a strong strategy. The third question that you're Googling at 2 a.m. in the morning is, should I do repairs or staging before listing my home? Well, that is the age-old debate. Should you fix everything or just throw a rug over it and just hope for the best? Here's the reality. Buyers notice everything, even the tiny things that you don't see, like the squeaky door or the leak that's underneath the faucet, even the vents in the air filter that you forgot to clean. Now that's a real situation. Oftentimes what I see with buyers when we go into homes is that they look up and the vents are just so dirty and they're just covered in dust and animal hair, the vents down here as well. Then when they're looking down, they see dust on the baseboard, dust everywhere, and you're not seeing it anymore, but the buyers, they are seeing it. So let's talk about repairs that actually pay off. Number one, fresh paint and neutral colors. I know that beige and gray, they're absolutely boring, but they sell. And if you've got worn out carpet or buckled carpet, replace it. Or if you've got like hardwood floors, get them refinished. And fix all the small things. You know, doors that are creaking, go ahead and just oil them. Or that little drip that's been underneath the sink for as long as you can remember, it's now time to fix it. True story, just recently represented a seller and the buyers did their inspection. In the inspection, it was basically what we thought amazing. But here's what the buyer took issue with. They took issue with the squeaky door in the hallway that also didn't fully close exactly the way they wanted, and the screen porch door that did close, but it closed very, very, very slowly, and the leak underneath the bathroom sink that like dripped once every 3 months, but they did find it because it dripped on the day that they were there. As small as they were, the buyer wanted those fixed, and the seller was like very irritated about it because they thought, we've lived with this for the last 20 years. It's never been a big deal for us. But the thing is, you're asking someone to buy your home. It's time to fix those little bitty details that you're now overlooking, but they really care about. Now, what about staging? Staging is like a first date. It doesn't change who you are, but you still want to show up looking your best. Now, this doesn't mean that you should be spending thousands of dollars, because sellers know that when you bring in all that fancy furniture, they're not keeping it and they can see past it. They also know that they're not going to offer $10,000 or $20,000 more just because you staged beautifully. So instead, work with what you have. Staging can mean that you're removing the big pieces of furniture out of your room, you're removing all of the clutter, and you're working with what you've got. Here is where decluttering, cleaning, and a fresh coat of paint is going to go a very long way. The fourth question that you're Googling, now probably 3 a.m., is how do you price your home and what does your timing look like? So pricing is one of the most important decisions that you are going to make, and often the one that you get wrong. Overpricing your home is like showing up to a first date in a wedding dress. You have scared off the buyers before they've even walked in the door. You might be saying to yourself, well, let's price it high and let's just see what happens. What happens? Crickets. Everybody is wondering what's wrong with the house as it's sitting there accumulating days on market. Many times the end price that you're going to end up with several months later is much lower than the price that you should have started at. A smart approach is to work with an experienced agent in your market to come up with the market value for your house. And if you want a second opinion, spend a few $100s and hire an appraiser. Pricing strategically attracts buyers. Think competitive, not wishful thinking. The first 10 days on the market is your golden window. That is when your listing is the hottest and serious buyers are looking. Price it right and you will get activity and offers fast. So here's a pro tip. Pricing a home correctly is an art and a science. Unfortunately, it is not about what you want for your home. It's about what the market will pay and creating excitement to bring those buyers and their offers. Now, let me give you a real world example. I represent a seller that has 16 other homes in the same neighborhood that they're going to be competing against. I understand what they want to get for the house, but I also understand the condition of the house. It's the smallest one. It has tenants in there. It is difficult to show. She has solar panels that have not been paid off, older roof. So there's a lot of challenges in this. So we had to price for the market. It's not the price that she wanted. Of course, I want her to have a higher number, but it's the price that's going to attract the buyers. I listed the house last night at 9 p.m. and today I've already got 6 showings set up and more going into the weekend. I am confident that we're going to have her probably an offer over list by Monday, but that is what correct pricing will do with good photography and strategic marketing. So I can't stress enough, you want real pricing strategy, not guesswork. You should have an agent who can nail it for you the first time. If you're in Florida, I would love to help. If you're outside of Florida, I can still help you. Make sure you click on the link in the description below or scan the QR code and I will connect you with a top agent in your area. So let's recap the top 4 questions that you were Googling all hours of the day. And that's number 1, what should you disclose? Remember, anything that's legally required and framed smartly. Be upfront and highlight how well you've maintained your home. Number 2 is now a good time to sell. With the right pricing and marketing, yes, homes can sell in any market. Number 3, should you do repairs or staging? Fix all the little things that buyers are going to notice and skip over the top renovations. And for staging, declutter, clean, and if possible, paint. Pretend like you're preparing for a photo shoot. And number 4, how do you determine your pricing and your timeline? Price right from day 1 and leverage that golden window of 10 days. If you master these, you are already way ahead of most sellers. If you're still unsure how to answer those buyer questions or where do you start as a seller, don't worry. You don't have to figure this all out by yourself. I can connect you to a top agent in your area so you can turn the questions into offers. Selling a home isn't only about the price. It's about having the right strategy and answering the buyer's questions in the right way so that you don't give anything away and the answers are not used against you. And that is where I come in. Be sure to click on the link in the description below or scan the QR code and let's chat about the process that's going to be best for you. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.